Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to Madam Nur Laila binti Ghazali. Today we are going to present our group project. Before I begin, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nur Fazlina binti Badru Hisham and my group members are Nur Latifah Liana binti Zakaria, Nur Syafiqah binti Muhammad Hafizi, Nur Syakira binti Muhammad Nafi and Suraya binti Muhammad Razmi. Let's begin with the first questions. If treated as single source of business, Well Sdn Bhd, who is profitable, shall be transferred and merged into ZAC. This is to utilize the unabsorbed capital allowance of 700,000 and unabsorbed loss of the company. Both companies can be treated as single business source because they have the same nature of business, which is food business. This can rely on reverse estate test, which said as interconnection, interdependence, and unity all embracing those business exist. Next, if treated as separate source of income, ZAC Sdn Bhd will be surrendering company and Well Sdn Bhd will be claimant company. The reason are because ZAC Sdn Bhd and Well Sdn Bhd are related. ZAC Sdn Bhd owns 78% of shares in Well Sdn Bhd. And the third reason is ZAC Sdn Bhd and Well Sdn Bhd has the same accounting year end. ZAC Sdn Bhd may surrender its current year loss, but it is restricted to 70% only. The amount that is surrendered would be carried forward to the next year assessment as unabsorbed business loss. Moreover, the capital allowance brought forward or unabsorbed business loss cannot be surrendered. In conclusion, the best way to minimize tax is by merging, since the unabsorbed loss of 500,000 and capital allowance brought forward of 700,000 can be transferred to Well Sdn Bhd. If treated as separate, only current year business loss can be claimed and it is restricted to 70% only. That's all from me.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Latifah Liana binti Zakaria. Without further ado, let's proceed to the next question, which is question B. Leasing or outright purchase of assets by ZAC. And then we must choose the best option and give the reasons. So, if ZAC Sdn Bhd wishes to outright purchase of asset, so the capital allowance will be based on full cost of the asset. ZAC Sdn Bhd can also claim annual allowance and initial allowance. And the annual allowance can be claimed every year, whereas for the initial allowance can be claimed on the first year. And then for the second one, if the company wishes to purchase through leasing, ZAC Sdn Bhd cannot claim capital allowance of asset. Instead, ZAC can claim full leasing charges as revenue expenses if it is fully incurred wholly and exclusively in the production of income of the company. So for the tax planning, or the best option that ZAC Sdn Bhd must choose is ZAC must choose to lease the asset, as the claim of leases rental will be the most advantageous, as leasing charges can increase adjusted loss and current year business loss will be allowed to shelter other income in that year. And then the claim of revenue expenses will also result in flexible deduction as compared to claim of the capital allowance. Proceed to the next question, which is question C, interest restriction. ZAC financial institution and also Profound Sdn Bhd. So for the first one, from the ZAC Sdn Bhd perspective, since the investment of ZAC to Profound is in term of loan, ZAC has charged 6% amount of interest income to offset the interest expenses suffered of 10% to financial institutions. This will ensure full deductibility of the interest expense. And then for the second one is from the financial institution perspective, the financial institution will receive 10% interest income charged to ZAC Sdn Bhd. Whereas for the Profound Sdn Bhd, it will be qualified for tax deduction as long as it has utilized the loan in the production of income of that source. This is because the investment made by ZAC in Profound in term of loan or debt is the best way to minimize tax liabilities as it gives minimum interest restriction loss. With that, I will pass the presentation to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. I am Nur Syakira Muhammad Nafi. I will present the answer for question D, tax planning on disposals of fixed asset by ZAC. Schedule 3 of ITN 1967, in order to avoid the clawbacks of the capital allowance from the tax authority, the timing of sale is significant in the tax planning on disposal of asset as the minimum of 2 years of ownership of the asset. The machinery is expected to be disposed after several years of usage. In this case, it means that the disposal is made not within 2 years of acquisition. Hence, there will be clawbacks of capital allowance claimed in the previous year from the tax authority. Subsequently, the company also should dispose the lorry after January 2020 in order to avoid the tax authority from clawing back the capital allowance claim in the previous year. If the assets are disposed of to Reni, who is the subsidiary, the disposal is subjected to the controller transfer. The asset would be deemed at the residual expenditure and there is no balancing allowance arising. Reni will continue to claim the same annual allowance based on the remaining residual expenditure. However, if ZEC Sdn Bhd disposes this asset to an unrelated company, the disposals of asset is deemed disposed at the market value. Hence, the acquirer can claim the capital allowance based on the amount incurred and not based on the market value.
Okay, thank you Shakira. My name is Nurul Shafika binti Muhammad Hafizi and I will present for question E, which is the group relief for loss. Firstly, with effect of the year assessment 2009, 70% of the surrendered company's current year business loss can be surrendered to its related companies called claimant companies. The tax implication of group relief for loss is that the surrendered company's tax losses will be used to set off the claimant company's aggregate income. Related companies means that at least 70% of the paid-up ordinary shareholding is controlled by another company. In this case, as mentioned previously by our members, Cik Fazlina, the current year business loss can be surrendered among ZEC and WELL as they are related companies and they both meet the eligibility condition for group relief purpose, comprised of the same accounting periods, both are related companies, both not enjoying any certain incentive, and WELL has defined aggregate income in that year assessment. However, both Profound and Reni are not eligible for group relief loss as they are expected to have current year loss, with Profound currently claiming for investment tax allowance. Next, for the computation, the current year loss of ZEC amounting to 300,000 ringgit can be set off against the aggregate income restricted to 70%, while unabsorbed business loss 500,000 ringgit can be set off against the statutory income. However, 700,000 ringgit of unabsorbed capital allowance will be treated as permanent loss, as capital allowance must be set off against the same business loss. Thus, we can see from the calculation of total income by the claimant companies, the total income is reduced to 690,000 ringgit, as the originally defined aggregate income 900,000 ringgit, less with the group release loss restricted to 70% amounting to 210,000 ringgit, will reduce the tax liability for WELL Sdn Bhd.
Thank you, Shafika. Assalamualaikum. I am Suraya binti Muhammad Razmi and let's proceed to the next question, which is F. What is the best method of acquiring ZEC Sdn Bhd? Either share acquisition or acquiring businesses and its tax implication. ZEC Sdn Bhd is planning to take over a profitable unrelated company. ZEC Sdn Bhd has been making a huge profit for the past few years and this good performance is expected to continue in the next few years. There are two methods of acquisition. In this case, the best method of acquiring ZEC Sdn Bhd is mergers and acquisition in the form of shares acquisition in that company. If the company elect to use shares acquisition, the tax attributes such as unabsorbed tax losses, unabsorbed capital allowance, or tax incentive will remain with ZEC Sdn Bhd. Furthermore, transfers of shares are capital in nature and thus not taxable, unless it is RPC shares will be subject to RPGT. With effect from 1/8/2006, unabsorbed business losses and capital allowance are allowed to be carried forward if the shareholders are substantially the same, and it shall be disregarded if there is a change of more than 50% of the shareholding in ZEC Sdn Bhd. In general, with effect from 1/8/2019, companies are allowed to carry forward for 7 years their accumulated tax losses and unutilized capital allowance to be set off against their future business income. In this case, the company can still utilize the accumulated and unabsorbed loss and unabsorbed capital allowance of the target company to set off against the new business income, although the companies have terminated their operation for several years. Hence, it is better for ZEC Sdn Bhd to acquire ZEC Sdn Bhd using the share acquisition method, as in the other hand, ZEC Sdn Bhd will have to submit a new application for tax incentive or exemption upon acquiring the business. Any tax incentive or exemption currently enjoyed by ZEC Sdn Bhd will not be transferred to ZEC Sdn Bhd. However, the interest incurred on funds used to acquire a business under an asset deal is fully tax deductible as compared with share acquisition method. The interest expense is only subject to interest restriction as a loan used for business purpose of acquiring shares in Jack Sendirian Berhad. Despite that, shares acquisition is still the best method of acquiring Jack Sendirian Berhad. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you, madam. Assalamualaikum. Have a nice day.